You mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot. So, I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts.
I love that. Whether or not Diddy liked him is a big part of the calculus. At least he's telling you how it actually works, all right? Now, Trump did just hand out a bunch of new pardons. It's the most frustrating part of executive power to me. I don't know why we gave king-like powers to a president. But one of the people he just pardoned is one of his biggest fans, reality star Todd Chrisley. And I hear Stephen A. Smith is a big fan of his as well. That was a surprise to me. Dusty just told me. What would it mean if he were to pardon Diddy? Should we even care? Let's bring in the man, Stephen A. Smith, right now. You don't like talk of Diddy pardons. Why?
Well, listen, I don't like talk of it. It's an echo on my ear. I'm sorry, but here's the deal. When you look at the Diddy situation, yes, he's been accused of sex trafficking. He's been accused of, sex trafficking, obviously, racketeering. We still need to see the courts bear it out. But what has been obvious from the jump is that there's been a lot of domestic violence going on. And you're hearing lurid details, grotesque details about what has transpired, what he has instigated, what he has initiated, the violence that he was caught on video perpetrating against Cassie Ventura, his former girlfriend. Seeing all of that, hearing the testimony, hearing others confirm not only what they saw, but that they experienced it themselves. And with the case still expected to go on for a little additional 4 weeks, it's surprising to hear the President of the United States talking about how it's something he'd leave the door open to. That's his right. He's the President of the United States. But in the end, when you hear this kind of stuff going on and you hear that from the President of the United States, who should have much, much bigger things to be focused on, it's kind of surprising in most situations that he would consider that. But when it comes to Donald Trump, we shouldn't be surprised.
This would not be the first man with ugly allegations attached to him that the president embraced. Now, I don't see your take on that as controversial, but what I think is highly controversial is what you believe may be coming President Trump's way in the avenue of support. Tell the audience what you think may be happening right now in this country.
In terms of him attracting himself to additional black voters. Well, people are looking at him and they're saying, listen, we're not feeling the Democrats right now. It's just that simple. You know, you feel taken for granted. You feel like, they've taken the black community for granted for quite a long time. You've got young voters that are not looking at them in the same light. They're not thinking about them in that regard. And then when you consider the fact that they don't seem to have a plan other than to go against anything that is Trump, it seems problematic because people are looking at you and saying, who's your voice? What's your vision? What plan of action do you have to steer this country in the right direction? You might talk about jobs being lost and what have you, and we're not here to disagree with that. But the flip side to it is that how do we get $37 trillion, in a deficit? How is it that there's problems with Medicare? How is it that there are problems in this country when you've had enough stewardship over this government? Not every administration, of course, because W. Bush was in there. H.W. was years before that, before Clinton came along. Obviously, he was there. Obama came afterwards. But they've all been in on it. And so you get to a point where you're saying no matter where we turn, who's the folks to look at and to say and to feel positively that they're going to be in the right direction? If I'm stuttering a little bit, it's because the echo never left my ear. I'm hearing my stuff over my ear. I apologize.
First of all, what's better than hearing you, Stephen A.? It's twice as nice. It's twice as nice when you're hearing yourself.
But okay.
I know. That's called the mix minus. Welcome to NewsNation. I have that happening all the time. Sometimes it's like 4 or 5 seconds delayed.
Yes.
So
Gotcha.
Let me ask you this. I want to bring up one more thing that people can go and watch on the Stephen A. Smith show that you just did. I thought it was really interesting. You actually developed an angle on the journalists who wrote about the Biden cover-up in the original Sin book that I hadn't even thought of. It was really interesting along these lines of You really believe that people who were offended by how Biden was covered are going to trust the people who are doing the job to tell them that they were right all along? And it was interesting. I guess I'm too close to it because I'm in the media. But when you interviewed these two guys, I thought it was really interesting how you were an advocate for regular people's interests who were like, what is this revelation to you? We all knew it. You were hiding from the truth. And I thought it was interesting how you confronted them with that in a civil way. But it was clear that they were not getting it the way you were laying it down.
Well, listen, here's the deal. I'm taking it out of my ear a little bit so I don't have to hear myself. Jake Tapper, I'm not here to judge him. I'm not here. He works for CNN and he does the job that he does covering politics. I've only met him a couple of times. When he's interviewed me, I interviewed him a couple of days ago for the first time, and he's got a best-selling book out. God bless him and Alex Thompson. But the reality is that I saw it a couple of years ago, Biden wasn't going to make it to the Democratic National Convention. And based on their report, there were an abundance of people, not just within the administration, not just within the White House, but within the Democratic Party who were fully aware of his debilitating condition as well. And they did absolutely nothing. Now, for me, I look at a guy like Trump, who they have sworn has been an existential threat to democracy. Well, how much of a threat are you if you're willing to circumvent our democratic process just to ensure that your guy maintains his time in office and we keep that individual out? Who are you? What kind of moral ground could you possibly stand on if you're willing to take that kind of position? That, to me, was what the appeal from this book. So many people have been focused on Jake Tapper and what he did or didn't do leading up to the election and how he's coming on in the aftermath and he's saying, hey, well, look at what I've discovered. I interviewed over almost 200 people. All of them were Democrats or what have you. And here's what we've learned. I'm like, forget all that. Forget Jake Tapper. Forget Alex Thompson. I don't mean that disrespectfully. The focus should be, who the hell was it in the White House and who the hell was it within our government that knew Biden was debilitated to that degree and did nothing and said nothing and was pushing for 4 more years? I'm not one of those people, Chris, that felt like once Biden announced, guess what? He should leave office immediately, that he was so gone, so incapacitated, he didn't have all his faculties in order. I don't believe that for 1 second. What I'm saying is, if you knew he was debilitated, what I'm looking at was y'all in the state capitol chanting 4 more years when he was giving his State of the Union address. I'm looking at you pushing him to be in office from the time he was 82 until he was going to be 86 years old. I'm looking at you pushing for him to be in office in 2024. What are you trying to say? What you were really, really hoping is that the man wins the election and then whatever happens to him and Kamala Harris could be in as the president. Oh, well, if that's what you were wishing, what you're saying is you didn't have faith that she could run on her own and win a primary like she couldn't do in 2020. Yeah. And so if that's the reality, you're basically guilty of everything you've accused the Republicans of doing, which means I don't want to hear a damn thing they have to say, because that's inexcusable. If you're going to be up and try to stand on some moral high ground, then have morals, have principles. Because that's what you say in the other side of the act, but you didn't do it yourself. I want to know who the hell knew. I want to know how much they knew. If they were an elected official, if they were a part of the administration, I think they should be banned from public office for life.
I like it. Won't happen, but I like it. It would be a good message. It would be a good message to send. All these parties are about is advantage. That's their principle. They're not about anything but that. So here's our dinner bet. The Knicks win tomorrow night, and they win by at least 7.
I could see that. There's no dinner bet there. I got them winning. I'm picking them to win. It's emotion more than basketball sense, but I'm still picking them to win Game 6 and force Game 7 at Madison Square Garden.
They're going to win that one too, Stephen A. And I'm going to see you down there.
By the way, you owe me dinner anyway. You being slick. You owe me dinner anyway, so next time you're paying. I mean, what is this?
Oh, listen.
Just take
I think I'm probably going to pay for the rest of my life. I owe you so much. You've done nothing but been good to me. I'll pay for you, and I've seen how you eat. You're a cheap date. Stephen A. Smith, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.